What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV, aka Darth Apocalypse. So, before I go forward, shout out to the brother Top Dog for the donations to the channel via the PayPal. He says, "Hey, Too Raw, can you do a fun what if video? Larry Bird makes a one-game return, a special one-game return as a player coach in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals against the Chicago Bulls. Honestly, I think this could have been an insanely huge TV ratings event. Larry Bird coming back to face off against Michael Jordan could have been money." Well, this would have never happened in real life for several reasons. Number one, even if Larry Bird wanted to come back and play as a basketball player for one game, the NBA rules would have prevented him from doing so. The collective bargaining agreement prohibits a team from having a player, from having a coach also be a player, because it would be a way for teams to circumvent the salary cap. So, you can't have a player coach anymore. That they used to be player coaches. Bill Russell was a player coach. Bob Cousy was a coach for I think they were the Cincinnati Royals, but he came back and played for a few games when he was coaching them. I want to say it was 1969-70. Lenny Wilkens was a player coach, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple other examples. I just can't think of them. But they got rid of that. And to be quite honest with you, I don't even think it was just for the circumventing salary cap crap. I think it was also to keep the NBA coach what I'm looking for. It was basically, I think also part of it is they wanted to keep the NBA coach carousel strictly coaches and certain coaches, because that was a way for experienced basketball players to become head coaches. And also, when you have all these players who've been playing for one franchise for so long, and if you need a head coach, and hell, you got a player who knows the fucking playbook, knows the to the back of the hand, knows the organization, friendly with the hierarchy of the organization, and at that time there was pressure on organizations to hire more minorities. A growing percentage of the players were black, and if you see this player is very intelligent, he becomes an automatic candidate to be a head coach, even while he's still playing, even though he's transitioned to being transitioned to being a coach. So I think the coaching hierarchy also kind of pushed for that to be cut off. You know what I mean? But anyway, aside from that, I don't think Larry Bird could physically play basketball, especially the late 90s, early 2000s brand of basketball that was becoming a lot more physical. Don't get me wrong, the game was physical in the 80s, but the game was becoming a lot more physical down low. If you remember that Game 7, it was very, very physical. Nobody shot well. The spacing was terrible. That was a grinded out, what was the final score? 87, 83 or something like that. That was a grind out, guttural brand of basketball that we were enjoying, quite frankly, because I love defense. I don't see Bird's back holding up. If Bird's back couldn't really hold up when he was 35, I don't see how he can hold up even one game at age 41. I think it really could have done some permanent damage to him if he had came back. That's just my opinion. But let's just entertain this. Let's say somehow his back was healed enough for him to play one game. And let's say David Stern allowed him to come back as a player. They're looking at the ratings windfall, saying, look, there's a loophole here. Let's just bullshit our way through this loophole. Larry, he came in the league in 1979, and let's just make up some some loophole that this only applies to players who were born in the 60s and whatever. I don't think it makes a difference. I don't think it makes a difference. But at that point in time, Bird, who also was taking medication for atrial fibrillation, so that's something else you got to look at too. Medications. He had been inactive for 6 years at that point in time. I think he's a shell of himself by that point. A shell of himself. A shell of himself. He clearly was not in basketball shape to play. So that's why it's so hard for me to kind of envision this. I mean, what would he be? What could he do? At that point in time, I don't think he was in basketball shape. Bird looked to me like he probably weighed 260. His playing weight was 220. So it's kind of hard for me to envision him playing even one game. I wouldn't be surprised if Bird had a cardiac event trying to play basketball in that game. I just think he was that out of shape. I don't know what he could have done. I mean, the only thing I could think of is he wanted to be able to play defense. Hell, he was never known as a defender anyway in his best days, at least not a great one-on-one defender. He was okay, much better help defender, but he didn't have the physical skills at that point or the physical ability to be much help of anything on defense. And the only thing I can really think of is him standing in the corner somewhere and being a liability on defense, chucking up threes and, Bird for three. And and what I think is going to happen is his time is going to be off. His end game time is going to be off. He's going to shoot nothing but bricks. And I think he would have hurt the team more than anything. I think he would have hurt the team, hurt his legacy, because I think, it's almost like you're undermining your team. You're going to lose your players. You're going to lose the guys who believe in you as a coach, because he was coach of the year, right? So what type of message does that send that, man, I don't believe in any of you guys. I don't believe I have a team good enough to win this game. I'm going to go out there and play my damn self. That don't really. I mean, if you're playing for him, what type of lack of belief in your team is that showing? I don't think that's a good move at all. That's just me, but I don't think it's a good move at all if he tried to do that. And like I said, I think he actually hurt the team instead of it being what was it, 80, 88, 83, 87, 83, something like that. Instead of that grind out, narrow victory that they had. What was it that Bob Costas said at the end of the game? Michael Jordan said that this was a bump in the road. It was anything but. It was a mountain to climb, and they barely reached the summit. I think if Bird had played that game, final score Chicago 100, Pacers 75 or something. It would have been a blowout. He would have hurt them offensively. Mike and Scott have been icing their knees. At some point in the game, it would have been like a fucking 35-point lead because he would have everybody been out of sync playing with him, not used to playing with him. He would have hurt the team. Him going out there playing, even if it was 15 minutes altogether, he just would have hurt the team, in my opinion. But that's just me. I can't give this. Look, man, y'all want realism, right? I just can't give this bullshit answer like, man, if Larry came out there, man, bombing from three, man, Bird would have scored 27. I mean, look, man, Bird was 41 years old with a slight heart condition. I think he was like 40 pounds heavier than what he was when he played, 30 to 40 pounds heavier at least. Remember, he's tall. 260 on a 6'9" guy is not that heavy, but still, he was much heavier than when he played. I want to say, didn't he have some sort of back surgery? Let me look that up. Yeah, he had spinal fusion surgery. Yeah, he had severe nerve damage. Let me see something. Can you play basketball after spinal fusion? Yeah, it's risky. It's risky. It's risky. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think he could have played, man. But anyway, that's just how I feel about it. What you guys think?